All right, fam. All right, we're just gonna dispense with the notion that we're gonna talk about anything except politics, okay? Why fight it anymore? I am what I am. Apparently, I attract from the universe questions about Donald Trump. And if you are a piece of the universe with a question for me, leave it in the comments down below with a hashtag AskGribs. I'll answer any question, but apparently for the rest of this year, we're only going to be talking about one thing. Got my Corona old boy lighter. Whoa. Corona. Once again, I'm smoking the Squadron Leader that Boca Boynton sent in the Country Gentleman that Fireplug sent. Just sitting back, relaxing on the largesse of the YTPC. Thank you all so much. Let's get to it. We'll get a few things out of the way first. Quaker Piper, Ask Gribs, Kanye West 2020. That's not a question, so I'm not going to answer it. Good God above, please save us from that. Like, I don't even know what that would look like. Just please. If there's one person in America that is a deeper narcissist than the president, it's Kanye West, right? Like, am I wrong about that? Is there anybody out there that disagrees that Kanye West is like the craziest crazy to ever crazy? And Kim Kardashian married him, well, because she might be crazy too. I don't know a damn thing about Kim Kardashian except that I'm actually, when she like makes these posts on Instagram where she writes, I'm actually a little bit impressed with her ability to form like, cogent thoughts and stuff. I would not have anticipated that. Howard says, denigrating Trumpkins, a few of which may be regular viewers, is only an invitation for bad juju. Okay. Dead serious, real talk. I'm not trying to denigrate anybody. That's not what I'm about, and if that is happening, I regret it, and if anybody feels denigrated or like I am on the attack or anything like that, let's work that out. Having said that, people ask questions, and the whole shtick of this show is that I answer any question that's asked, and it's really leading to some dark places, because if you guys want me to be honest, and I want to be honest, there's no sense in doing this if I'm not honest. Everybody always says, wow, you're so honest and open on your channel. Yeah, what's the point if not? So, if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer it honestly. And my honest feeling about a lot of what's going on right now is going to be offensive to the people that like what's going on right now. I'm sorry that they're offended. It's not. I do not wake up in the morning thinking I'm going to make a video to go piss off a bunch of Trump supporters. That's not what happens. It's just this is the form of my channel now, and mostly because I'm too lazy to make any other videos. Having said that, there are some things that I will bring up on my own, like secret police stuffing people into vans and concentration camps. Those are the two issues that I have like made a video about or brought up in a video where I'm like, y'all, seriously. And in response to that, Typing Piper made a video this week. The whole video was hashtag AskGribs. So I'm going to try to respond to the whole thing. And Typing Piper, please forgive me if I'm I'm going to paraphrase everything you said, so I might say it wrong. Typing Piper says that these are not secret police. This is not fascism. The protesters basically they deserve this kind of treatment. This is a tactic by federal police, and there are other countries in the world that are more fascist than us. We don't live in a fascist state. So let me respond to all that. First, I choose my words really specifically, and perhaps too specifically for the parlance of our time. So when I use the word fascist, I mean like actual fascist, like far-right authoritarian hyper-nationalist movement, state, whatever. And I mean, I think that you would have, if you want to be real literal about it, you'd have a hard time calling any country in current times fascist, because fascism was by definition a movement in the early 20th century. Now, I guess you could say so was communism, but we still have communist nations. Yeah, I mean, those nations are still going, but there's not really a lot of fascist states out there. So when I say this is fascist, I'm saying of or pertaining to fascism, not that we live in a fascist state, which I don't think we do. Yeah. But we're getting there. We're getting there. So we've got hypernationalism. We've got a braggadocious leader who wants autocratic power, and who references a time of glory in the past, and is in a populism. We've got the. I wouldn't say that Donald Trump in particular is that far to the right. I think that's all an act. I think the people behind him are very far to the right in terms of the like crony capitalism side of the right wing of the spectrum. And I think, although not to the level of rhetoric in the past in 20th century fascism, but we have this scapegoating of non-white people. So Typing Piper showed a bunch of pictures of the persecution of the Uyghurs. Let me see how to pronounce these people's names. All right, everybody on the internet seems to be saying Uyghurs, so I'm going to go with that. U-I-G-H-U-R-S. So Typing Piper posted these pictures and said, this is a fascist state. It's not. It's a communist state. Both fascism and communism are authoritarian, and really, I don't care which end of the economic spectrum your authoritarianness lies on. Or lays on. Crap! Am I gonna have to ask Les Brady to edit this too? My quarrel is not with capitalism or socialism, whatever, man. I don't. My quarrel is anytime civil liberties are infringed upon, or people are put into camps. That sort of thing. That's where I have a problem with it. So I was using the term fascist a little too specifically here, because if it were communists doing this, I would say the same thing. But I think in this case, fascist is the more accurate description of who these people are. Authoritarian. Autocratic authoritarian. That would work just fine too. Typing Piper has been on a real kick lately about Black Lives Matter and their founders' avowed Marxism. And he was surprised that I am not concerned about that more than I am concerned about the secret police. So here's the thing. Authoritarianism can only come from the authorities. So if Black Lives Matter were to sweep Congress, install a president, and start doing secret policey kind of things, I would be absolutely just as vocal. But right now, they're just another like liberal group that's protesting in the streets and causing a ruckus. And I don't particularly disagree with them. In fact, I entirely support their quarrel with the status quo. I don't know enough about, I actually, Typing Piper, I watched the video of the lady, saying that she was a trained Marxist. I mean, okay, like, so she's a Marxist. Am I going to vote for her for president? No, I'm not. But it doesn't really concern me until she gets some real power. We've had Marxists in this country since there was Marx, and some of them have been agitators and some have not, and whatever. I'm not particularly concerned about the economy of the United States falling too hard to the left in the near future. To be more specific, the only kinds of politics I want to get involved in are the raw politics of the people versus government. I don't care about left wing or right wing anymore. I used to, some. What I care about is civil liberties and the freedoms of the actual people walking around in the country. And to that end, I'm sorry, like that we disagree that this is an acceptable police tactic. It's not. Federal police aren't really supposed to be a thing. I have heard from people on the ground in Portland. Portland is not under siege. This is all happening within like a 6-block radius. Who cares? Excuse me. I get having federal marshals come out and protect the courthouse. That's fine by me. When you chase people down in the streets that you couldn't arrest on the spot, you know what? Even then, I would be okay with it if you came out with your badge and you said, "Hey, we're federal marshals," or whatever organization they're with, and we're arresting you for this reason. Like, if you act like civilian police, okay, fine. When you don't act like civilian police, you're not civilian police. Those of us on the right, back when I was, constantly bemoaned the creation of federal bureaucracies with policing power, like the ATF, Homeland Security, all that stuff. The IRS buys more guns than like half of the civilian populace every year because they've got to outfit the ATF and then all the other divisions they have for criminal stuff. So these aren't police; these are tax code enforcement agents with guns. Even if you hate Black Lives Matter, you should be appalled and terrified that our federal government is doing this, and that these agents are basically only answerable to Trump, because the acting secretary of the Department of Homeland Security is, well, he's a little Trumpkin, and he's said that they're arresting people proactively. I'm not sure if he knows what that means, but that is unconstitutional. I think, Matthew, that you would agree, and that our founders would agree, that if an American citizen is walking down the streets and a van pulls up and armed men get out and stuff that citizen, or try to stuff that citizen into the van and take them away to wherever, unless and until those men identify themselves as police, that citizen has every right to resist with whatever deterrent they have at their availability. And I think that's kind of the basis for a lot of right-wing theory, libertarian theory, certainly. This is like Branch Davidian, Ruby Ridge stuff here. Like, this is going to go down in history as a gigantic government overreach. And everybody likes to talk about Waco because that was Bill Clinton's thing, right? And Elian Gonzalez, that was all Clinton stuff. But Ruby Ridge happened under a Bush, I believe. While we're on the subject, just for added drama, I will answer Timber Drifter's question. I don't remember hearing about this new handgun. Ask Gribbs, what did you get? A Glock, I presume. Well, no. I got an LEO trade-in, first gen Smith & Wesson M&P. And I got the full-size 40 Smith & Wesson. And I am very, very pleased with it, actually. I've never been a fan of full-size guns because they're full-sized, but for a gun that I don't anticipate carrying, it's much easier to handle when I'm actually shooting it. Not that I've shot it a lot because I can't get any ammo for it, but yeah, I think that this, I was such a Glock fan for so many years that I kind of just wanted something different. I mean, I would have bought a Glock if I'd had one available to me at the same. I got this for $250. $250 with 2 mags, and it's LEO, like I said, LEO trade. I got it from Ames Surplus. I like it better than the Glock. It fits me better than the Glock. It feels better in the hand, and I think Glock needs some updating to stay relevant. So this gun has just been sitting around. I don't keep it in a ready condition. And like I said, I don't carry. But it was something that when all this started, that I wanted to have. For better or worse, I recognize that goes counter to some of my love thy neighbor, peace, love, and understanding stuff. And I struggle with that. But Smith & Wesson M&P. Derek Tant, the mayor, asked Gribbs, are you expecting things to get better or worse after Election Day? Derek, you're a politician, so I'm going to just speak straight in your language here. I'm not expecting that there will be an Election Day. It doesn't feel historical. It doesn't feel like it would jive with history for there to be a normal election process right now. So what I'm guessing is going to happen is by that time, by November, the coronavirus will be so incredibly out of control that election services may not even be functioning. I think we've seen Trump do this big pivot. Like now all of a sudden he's concerned about the virus. And my read on that is that he got to a point where he realized it was more beneficial to make the virus a boogeyman than it was to deny its existence. Nobody's going to deny the fact that they don't have a job. It's going to be pretty self-evident to people that the economy has completely collapsed. He's not going to be able to pretend that it hasn't. When people's family members are dying, you know, it's the same thing. You don't. Nobody feels the sting of systemic racism until it hits close to home, and I think no one feels the coronavirus pandemic until it hits close to home. And Derek, I have been reading about what's going on in Texas, and well, we finally got the death panels that the GOP warned us about. I was campaigning for John McCain at that point in my life when people were talking about the death panels that would come from Obamacare. And I asked a friend of mine who is pretty apolitical and very, very astute in these matters, and I said, you know, what do you think about this? Like, is this just blather, death panels? He said, no, there's definitely going to be death panels. There already are death panels, and there kind of always have been death panels. There is a point at which the people with resources decide whether or not to use those resources to save other people, and that's a death panel. That whatever body makes that decision. And he was saying basically we ought to just embrace the fact of death panels and make them more fair than they probably are right now. Because right now it's just a bunch of, like, a board of hospital directors sitting around saying, well, it's going to look better for us if we do this and here's the line or there's the line. And, you know, if we could actually get some transparency to the process, it might, I don't know. I mean, you know, the people in Texas are saying that there's patients that they see that they're better off dying at home instead of dying alone in isolation. So I can't imagine making that decision and telling a family member, oh, you've got to take this person home so they can die with you and not here. It's terrible, and that's why it's a global pandemic. Like, this ain't chicken pox, you know. I think everybody is still realizing that every day. We wake up and we're, you know, like, life seems normal for a minute, and then you're like, oh, like, this is a horrible, horrible historic event. And then there will be the deniers that say it's all just a plot to get the president. I love how, like, all those other countries like Iran and Italy, like, they went so far as to dig mass graves and fill them with bodies in their countries so that they could help the Democrats out. Howard asked Gribbs, fashion police to issue $50 fines for going maskless in Miami. What the fuck? Yeah, it sucks. That really sucks. If only people just had enough sense to wear the masks, like, without being forced to. Although here in North Carolina, we have this rule. We have this rule that you got to wear a mask in public unless you're in a restaurant eating with other people at your table, close by, jammed together. Oh, and you're from Florida. So people come from out of state, they got to wear a mask all the way through the state till they get to the brewery or the restaurant or wherever, and then they can take the mask off and sit down, have a nice long meal with everyone else in the restaurant. Finally, our last non-Trump coronavirus related question, and our last question, Howard asks, this is about the alien. Somebody asked last week if I would rather get the coronavirus or undergo alien probing. And Howard asks, if it were unprotected probing, would that change your answer? So wait a minute. When you guys said probing, I thought you meant like probing with instruments, right? Like, there's no like biological interaction with the aliens, right? Because that would definitely change my answer. To hell yes. Can you imagine the book sales I would get if I wrote about that? Whitley Strieber just got sucked up into a spaceship and probed with instruments. He didn't actually have sex with the aliens. He's a freaking legend. Next week on the Sunday Antisocial, how I had sex with aliens. The Gribbly story. That's my get-rich-quick scheme from here on out, because everything else I'm trying doesn't work. No, wait, there is another question, and unfortunately, I can't get to it. I know that Over a Pipe asked me a question. I'm going to paraphrase it because I can't quote it. My son has started watching YouTube, and so we have turned the tablet into a restricted mode tablet so that he doesn't. He saw some really stuff that you would think would be totally benign, like Lego videos, but then he got really upset by the Lego videos. So now we had to like put some parental controls in place. I don't care if he watches like horror movies or anything. I don't want him asking me like existential questions about Lego characters. That's basically it. Anyway, Over a Pipe, Ask Gribbs. Can I get specific about why I hate Trump so much? Basically, he wants me to list the most detrimental things that I think the president has done to the country, above and beyond what other presidents have done. Really? Like, really? It's kind of hard to compare him to any president in living memory, because the last president to go through a global pandemic was Wilson. And Wilson, by doing nothing, did a better job than Trump. Woodrow Wilson never made a public statement about the Spanish flu. It was a different time. The federal government was not expected to keep us all safe from whatever boogeyman was out there. But I think it's fair to say that was pretty negligent. Trump has made a bunch of statements about the coronavirus, and they all seem to like be on the side of the virus. I'm not one of those people that blames the virus on Trump. I don't think he had anything to do with it. Of course, everybody's got a conspiracy theory. Who knows? But I think just looking at our numbers compared to the numbers of the rest of the world, it's obvious something went badly wrong here. It's obvious that we are not the nation that we thought we were. Yeah, that's a buck stops here kind of situation, and that lands on his desk. Then I think you do get into comparing him to other presidents and saying, well, what about the economic downturn he has presided over? The economy was doing great for a while, but now everything's in the shitter. Again, not his fault. But then 9/11 wasn't George Bush's fault, and we came through that okay. The whole 2007 thing, that might have been George Bush's fault. And this is going to be a lot worse than that. So, right. Police actions that we've discussed already in this video, I think would be the next thing on my list. And yeah, other presidents have had their oversteps. Like I said, Waco, Ruby Ridge, Elian Gonzalez. Nothing on this level and nothing ongoing. Like, those situations were like a one and done kind of thing, where what was the guy's name in Ruby Ridge? I was trying to remember this earlier. His name is whatever. The feds went in and killed his family. They went in and killed his family because they thought he might have sawed-off shotguns, right? And then in Waco, they burned down a structure with a bunch of kids in it, because they thought David Koresh might be stockpiling weapons and having sex with underage girls. The federal government did that. So at least, though, those situations were like, oh shit, we screwed up, and now we got to deal with the backlash. This is ongoing. They're doubling down on this. They're going to take this program nationwide. Now, Obama had Gitmo, but we still have Gitmo. And Bush, of course, opened Gitmo, and Obama failed to close it. The thing is here, all the presidents in living memory have been terrible, but they were terrible within normal parameters. What we're seeing under Trump is this huge escalation in terribleness. So I would then, point to the Mueller report and how guilty he obviously was and is. I would point to the vast number of scandals and allegations that, if a tenth of them are true, are incredibly damaging to the republic. I don't. Everybody, all the presidents have their little scandals here and there, but between, say, Watergate, which wasn't in my living memory, but you know what I mean, Watergate and colluding with foreign governments for election help, I'll take Watergate. I think that's at least you're only victimizing the opposing party, as opposed to the opposing party, your own party, and all the unaffiliated voters as well, with your corruption. Yeah, I mean, should I keep going here? If anything, though, I feel a great personal sadness for Donald Trump, because I think that he is just a wreck of a human being, and I don't think that this is the way he's governing is really his fault. I think that he is such a deeply flawed personality that he can't really help it, and the fault lies with all of us, really, for creating a country in which his brand of strongman populism is what we want. And I say that as someone who would never have voted for him, but the people that I would have voted for were not good enough to make the other people not vote for Trump, if that makes sense. I think that this is as much a liberal problem as it is a conservative problem. Like, the idea that Donald Trump is a conservative is laughable, but it's terrible. It's a really bad time in history right now. So now that we've had an entire episode basically about Donald Trump and the coronavirus, do you guys feel better? Like, do you feel good that we had this talk? Because I feel terrible, and this is why I don't really want to talk about it anymore, and why I'm gonna have to start curating questions, because someone every week asks about this, and I like my shtick about always answering the questions, bound by oath and all that, but for the sake of my sanity, and I think also it's a self-selecting problem of, like, people don't want to watch the Antisocial anymore because all we ever do is talk about this shit. And so the only people that are left are the people that want to, like, gin up some kind of debate. And, I don't know what to do. I lately have been uninspired to film the Antisocials, and really miss the time when I just kind of made some pipe videos and and granted, I have other content that I just literally haven't had time to get to, so maybe it's just my fault in not flooding the channel with stuff that I do enjoy, but I'm happy to continue having this conversation if it's like in the interest of people who really want to know what I think about what's going on, and not just people who, like, not even the people that want to start a fight. Like, I don't think Typing Piper wants to start a fight, but I think we're all so damn upset about everything, and it feels like the right thing to do to talk about it. But I don't know if it is. Like, I don't know if it is the right thing to do to use our leisure time to spend more attention on this stuff. I think that issues like the secret police do need to be, you need to say something. But I don't. So that brings us to the rather shameful, nauseating conclusion of this week's Sunday Antisocial Hour. Go watch Over a Pipe. His videos of this same format are much more entertaining than mine are lately. And every week I say I got more stuff coming out, and actually last week I did. So, maybe whatever. I'm just gonna try. I gotta homeschool my kid. I gotta learn how to be a kindergarten teacher in about 2 weeks. So life is not going to get any less crazy for me. But man, there's stuff I want to talk about. Analog cameras and fishing and all that. Keep the ends out for the ties that bind. Thank you so much, and please stay safe and well. See you next time.